Hello again. In a comment here yesterday, the suggestion was made that I am obsessed with skin colour and that this is an unhealthy preoccupation. This is a fair point, which I hope to address this morning. Last night I decided to visit the cinema for some mindless entertainment, simply to switch off and watch the latest Hollywood blockbuster, Twisters. All that was on my mind was a couple of hours of keeping my mind blank. However, when the Pearl and Dean advertisements began, it was immediately apparent that something odd was going on. The first of them featured three actors, all of whom were black. The following advertisement showed an ethnically mixed cast generally, but around half the people in them were also black. These were advertisements made in Britain for a British audience, not American imports, you understand. Now, here's the thing. Just 3% of the population in Britain is black, and yet 50% of the people in those advertisements were black. In other words, the proportion of black people in those advertisements was 17 times as great as in the British population. 17 times as large as in real life. Now this presents me with a slight problem. I didn't visit the cinema with the intention of seeking material for this channel, and yet this discrepancy between the real world of modern Britain and that portrayed in the advertisements was so glaringly obvious that it was hardly possible not to notice it. Having done so, what should I do you suppose? Just ignore it? Censor my memory and erase what I had seen? The advertisement showed a fake version of my country, artificially inflating the number of one particular visible minority by multiplying it until it was 17 times as great as in reality. Am I a racist for seeing what is being done, do you think? Here is another point worth considering. 3% of the population of Britain are black, and they are multiplied 17 times to create a fantasy world in advertisements. Do those who accuse me of racism for noticing this ever ask themselves why this inflation is never carried out on any other minority? For instance, there are well over 1 million Hindus in Britain. That comes to roughly 2% of the population. Let's multiply that 2% by 17, which gives us 34%. Has anybody ever seen an advertisement made in this country showing a British scene in which a third of the people are Hindus of Indian heritage? No? Why is that, do you suppose? If I started seeing advertisements in which a third of the population was shown as Hindus, and in some of the advertisements only Hindus were shown, would it be racist for me to notice that and ask what was going on? How many Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, Parsis, Buddhists do we ever see in British advertisements? How many advertisements have soundtracks based on Indian music, Bhangra, say? None? None at all, you say? Now how many have musical soundtracks based on black music? Most of them? I have to ask myself why anti-racists never seem to notice such things, never ask themselves why it is only black people, black culture, and black music which is thought to be right and proper in advertisements. I am bound to say that if I was a Hindu or Sikh, I might be a bit ticked off about this. Their cultures are erased, while black culture is multiplied by 17 and made to appear the only one worth hearing and seeing. I would be interested to hear why people think this is. I suppose that part of it is that we usually make stuff in this country with an eye to the American market, where the proportion of black people in the population is 5 times greater than it is in Britain. But even so, I think there's more to this than simply that aspect of it.